All right, let's get to Ross v. Suarez on this. Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez had some incidents at Las Vegas Motor Speedway this past weekend. I've heard all the comments from both sides. I also listened to Daniel Suarez's vlog this week, which really wasn't a vlog. It was more of just him explaining how he felt about the whole him versus Ross Chastain situation. And the way I look at it now that I've heard all the comments and I've watched all the videos, I think it was just really an overreaction on probably both sides to a certain degree. I would definitely lean personally, and I think Tyler might have a different take. I would definitely lean that Ross may have had a little bit bigger of an overreaction. So pretty much if you didn't see it in the late laps, Daniel Suarez kind of squeezed Ross Chastain a little bit off the corner, but I didn't think it was anything too different than what we see almost every lap on a speedway. He didn't put him in the wall. He didn't door him. He didn't do anything like that. And then on the back straightaway on the cool down lap, Chastain decided to come up and door him. And what Suarez is saying, and I don't know if I necessarily believe this or not, that Chastain was giving him the middle finger after he doored him, and right before Chastain doored him, he was trying to wave out the window to apologize for kind of squeezing him up there. I don't know if I necessarily believe that part. I don't know. I'm just going by what Suarez said, what Chastain has said. And then when they got down on pit road, there was definitely some words exchanged, and I do think one of those words or sentences were exchanged. And I've seen all the lip readers say it, and I kind of agree. It looks like that Ross Chastain says on pit road that they fired you, or they fired you to Daniel Suarez. Their PR person gets in the middle of them. Obviously, the PR person probably knows Daniel as well, with Daniel being a Trackhouse for so many years. So overall, the way I feel about the whole situation, I think there was an overreaction on both people's parts. I think Suarez's reaction to the words maybe wasn't the greatest. I did also hear his Sirius XM interview, and I'm all for everything that he said in that interview, pretty much saying, "Oh, I would be." He didn't say these exact words, but he pretty much said, "I would beat Ross's ass" and stuff like that. And I'm all for that because I think it's exciting, but at the same time, maybe not necessarily the best image to put out there, I would say. And I also wasn't a big fan of Ross after the race, because a lot of reporters were trying to ask him questions about that, and he was like, "Not a chance." And I didn't like that. At least give some sort of opinion. Don't just say like "not a chance" or whatever. I wasn't a big fan of that. Honestly, I don't think either side really comes out looking too pretty because of this. And then also the discussion has been also, should the drivers fight at the end of these races? Should they be allowed to fight? And I think they should have hockey rules. I really do think that they should be allowed to fight, because I heard from both sides. It sounded like both sides wanted to fight in that moment. It sounded like Chastain wanted to throw punches. It sounded like Suarez wanted to throw punches. But it also sounds like the first thing that came to mind was them getting fined. And then Stenhouse, I think one of them said that they're going to get fined $50,000, and then Stenhouse commented on X, actually, it's $75,000. So I want them to be able to fight. I want them to be able to express themselves in the way that they can. Have them pull on the front straightaway and fight in front of the fans or something, or pull up in the grass. Actually, pull up in the grass and have them fight in the grass. That way, if you fall on grass, not on the pavement. I don't know. I want them to be able to fight. I don't think either side came out too pretty after this. But Tyler, what were your thoughts on the whole Chastain Suarez situation?
Personally, I was yelling from victory lane for Ross to punch him. So that was my opinion of it at the time. I didn't know anything that happened, nor did I care. I just wanted to see a fight. So
Mm.
that's kind of where I stand on that. I personally love to see a fight at the end of a race. So if we can have that legal, that would be everything to me. I think sometimes people just need to brawl it out a little bit. I don't think those two boys have ever really liked each other. I think this is
No.
really going to break open that shell. And then, unfortunately, it's not going to be pretty because obviously Ross has some nasty things he really wants to say about Daniel. And that's the whole reason why he didn't talk to the reporters, because at that point, he's already been told by his PR person, you better shut up now. Because I swear to God. So, yeah, he was warned on a first-hand level by her. So, and you got to know that she knows exactly how much they don't like each other because she sees the actual interactions on the back end. So, she was quick to be like, no, let's not go there because she knows exactly repercussions of it all, unfortunately, of the nastier side of it all, right? Us NASCAR fans are going to enjoy it. Anybody else that doesn't enjoy NASCAR may not understand it, but every other NASCAR fan is gonna enjoy a fist fight on that front stretch. I promise that every single time.
And honestly, I just think it would also be great promotion for the sport. I think it would. I want the fighting. If both, obviously both parties need to agree. We can't have one person just wanting to punch somebody and the other one not wanting to get punched. I think both sides
Yep.
need to agree upon it. Like there needs to be some sort of way. Like with hockey, they throw off their gloves, and that's how they show they're ready to fight. And they want to throw hands. Maybe something like that. They throw off their racing gloves or something like that, or
Throw
they
your
like
helmet down and you know.
yeah, spike your helmet down, something. I personally think they should be allowed to fight. Obviously, I think security and everybody should be there in case if it gets out of hand or if it goes on for too long. Like, don't have these motherfuckers just if they're both keep on standing and they're just throwing haymakers at each other. Eventually, separate them. Don't have them fight for any more than like 20 seconds. I would say like don't have this long fight. We don't need one of our drivers necessarily getting hurt. And I think the main reason it doesn't happen is I think there's three main reasons. I think it's the fines. I don't think any drivers want to get fined. I think another reason is I compared to other sports are full contact sports, so these drivers aren't necessarily used to getting major like bodily contact unless they're wrecking a lot, which maybe they are at that point if they're wrecking a lot. Ryan Preece would be ready probably, you know. But I think that would be another reason, I would say. I'm forgetting the third reason right now. Give me a second. I'm forgetting the third reason. I had it in my head, and it fell out of my head. What was it? Oh, yeah. And then the third reason I would say would be the sponsors. Some sponsors are going to be okay with it. Some aren't. Some are probably going to be like, oh, that probably did great stuff for our brand. And some sponsors it's not. Like McDonald's, for example. If McDonald's was on one of these cars, there's not gonna be no fist fights happening. It's just not gonna happen. I don't know how Eminem stuck with Kyle Busch all those years. I don't know how they pulled that off. But it just really depends. I think it really
The little
depends on
red angry one.
yeah, the little red angry exactly. The little red angry one was Kyle Busch. But I'm all for the fighting. I think both sides came out of this looking a little bit dirtier, not as good as they did last week. And I think this is a legitimate rivalry. We were talking about Creed versus Gray earlier. I think this rivalry might carry through the season. I feel like this is gonna be very much Chastain versus Hamlin sort of rivalry. That's kind of what I'm feeling here. And eventually I think it will lead to punches. I do eventually think it will lead to punches because there's going to be a certain point when they get angry enough at each other, they're not even going to think. They're just going to start throwing punches. Or all it takes is one of them. All it takes is one of them to start throwing punches, and then it's on. And I expect it at this point with these two because we've seen Chastain punch Gregson, and we've seen freaking Suarez take down Michael McDowell. Michael McDowell is a big guy. I'm very curious on who would win this. I would lean towards Suarez would win this fight just because McDowell's a big guy. But Chastain seems like he'd be scrappy. But I think either way, I think it'd be a good fight. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about fighting in NASCAR? How do you feel about Ross Chastain versus Daniel Suarez? I think this is a rivalry we might have for the rest of the year.